So I invite all of you to just relax, allowing the chair to hold your weight, allowing your shoulders to drop, and giving yourself permission to be here in this room this morning. In this room where you get a time to let go. To let go of anything that is not helping you move into a direction of good. So just breathe. And release. Feel that calmness. Feel your shoulders dropping. Feel the ease of letting go. We are here today to decide, to make a claim that we are brilliant, magnificent, powerful, empowered individuals. It is not of boasting, but it is of claiming our oneness with God. You have permission today to go to that Christ space within you, that Christ spirit, that light, that place that gives you comfort, that knowing that gives you peace. You have permission to be here and allow all of us to love you. When we see each other, we are not separate, but it is a mirror of who we are, a reflection. We give thanks for everything that is put before us, for we know that within us we have the tools to handle what might come our way. Take another deep breath in. And as we move into a time of silence, I invite you to bring in your family members, your loved ones, your coworkers, somebody you might not like so much today, and hold in that space the love that you feel when you are here. See them whole and let go and let God. as we go about our day today, we are reminded of that love that we sought when we went into silence. We are reminded to trust, to believe in the divine wisdom that is within each one of us. And for this we give thanks, and so it is. Amen. So good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is sometimes just a little hard to come out of that meditative state and come up here and say, okay, let's have a conversation, shall we? So I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me. Joe, welcome. It's fabulous always to have somebody come new to either Unity or to this beautiful place called Unity of Payson. I enjoy being here when I'm asked to come up on a Sunday. It brings me closer, just that much more closer to God. So thank each one of you for being here this morning. So I don't know if you're aware, but the title today is Animal Instinct. How many of you, when you read Animal Instinct, you thought, what is she going to talk about today? Right? Well, I happened to be watching Animal Planet, and I was watching some animals, fighting or how they just naturally knew to go and do something. And I thought, I bet you I can make a talk out of Animal Instinct. And that's how that transpired, but guess what happened after that? It became easy to understand how we can go to that nature within us, that fight or flight or that instinct that is within us to do our right next thing. So how many of you have ever found yourself ignoring your gut feeling? Not alone. How many of you have ever found yourself in a situation where your natural instincts shocked you? How did I know that, right? And is there someone in your life that brings out the fight or flight in you? I'm going to fight or I'm out of here, right? Or both. I'm going to fight and then I'm out of here. Has there been a time when someone asked for your thoughts or your gut feeling, if you will, and much to your amazement, you were able to just respond quickly? You didn't know why, but you just knew that it was the right thing. Have you ever had that? I'm like, wow, they asked me for my gut feeling and it came out so quickly. Malcolm Gladwell, the author of The Tipping Point, calls it the power of thinking without thinking, the power of thinking without thinking. And he says that in this book, which is called Blink. How many of you have read this book, Blink? Yes, it's a powerful book, isn't it? So I'm going to talk about this chapter. The first chapter was so exciting, I couldn't understand it. So I'm like, let's talk about this. And what was so exciting about this book is that the first chapter is about this young curator. He's working at the Getty Museum, and this is his first job, and he's all excited, and he has this young man come up to him, and he says, there's this statue. And this statue, it's a Kyros, I think is what it's called because of the shape of the statue. And this statue is made of marble, right? And that it is supposed to be older than dirt. I mean, as old as the 6th century BC, right? And he's all excited. He's like, oh my God, this is my first time as a curator. I'm so excited. I have this opportunity to get this statue. I'm going to make a name. The museum's going to get this name, and it's going to be all good. So he's excited. He's in this moment. And so he gets the Getty Museum to say yes, and so they decide they're going to start moving forward, and they're going to move cautiously. And they're going to do all the proper testing to make sure that this is all right, right? They're going to make sure that this statue actually is older than dirt, right? That it is what it says it's going to be. Did I mention that they thought that that statue was worth up to $10 billion? Now, that is a lot of money, or $10 million, and that is a lot of money back in the 1980s. That is a lot of money today. Right? That's a lot of money anytime. Why not? Let's just say it. So there's this excitement, this element, this, oh my gosh, we're going to get this beautiful prize in our museum. So they go about their business, and for 14 months, they're doing all the testings, they're getting all the experts are coming in, they're testing, and they did the testing, and they did the core testing, and in fact, it was the marble from the 6th century BC. They were excited, so they said, let's go ahead and move forward and purchase this. Because they had taken it out on loan prior to that. There is a point to the story. So he gets it. The young curator is so excited to be there, and he's so excited to show his friends. He invites some more experts in. They're about 2 weeks away from purchasing this statue. And he brings in a young Italian art historian named Federico Zeri. And Zeri, who also served on the Getty's board of trustees, and asked him what he thought. And so this young Federico said he had this gut feeling, right? He had this gut feeling. He looks at the statue, he couldn't take his eyes off the fingers of the statue. He didn't know why, but he was just drawn to the fingers of the statue. He couldn't put his finger on it, but he knew I just couldn't stand it. He knew something was amiss. The next expert they brought in was a young lady who, Evelyn Harrison, and she also was she was an expert. Sorry, I'm alluding to the type of expert that she was, but she was also another expert of a different sort, but of the same. And she as he's taking the veil off the statue, right, lifting it up, he's all excited. Remember, we're just so excited. We're in this moment, and he lifts off the cloth off of the statue. Her first instinct was, "Have you purchased this yet?" And he's all excited, "No, but in a couple of weeks we're going to have it finalized. I'm so excited about this." And she said, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that." She doesn't know why. She hasn't seen anything, but her gut, her instincts are telling her something is amiss. So the point that I'm trying to make in this story is that actually Malcolm is making in this story, is that our instincts can serve us, or they can make us blind to what the truth is. Okay? They can serve us, or they can make us blind to what the truth is. And he has all of these different ways for you to look at this, but I'm going to give you my version of all of this. He says, he did talk about, though, he says he warns you that if it's okay to make judgment off of a snap judgment, it's okay to have that judgment, it's okay to look at that information and make a snap judgment, but be careful of where you at when you're making that judgment, right? And that's that part. It can defeat you, or it can serve you. Just as the curator did at the Getty, he was all excited, right? So here's the end of the story. I'm just going to tell you the end of the story real quick of this chapter. It was a fake. They spent 14 months doing all the investigating. All the paperwork, all the science, all the proof that was right in front of them said that this was the truth. That curator ignored those, because it was not only the two people I gave you an example of, but there were two other people that said, "Get your money back now, because this isn't right." He ignored that because he needed to make it right. He had his passion. He was convinced that his gut reaction to that and this excitement, that was the truth. It was a fake. They had wasted 14 months of time and energy and money and talent, right? But was it wrong? No, it's not wrong that he believed in it. But what I want you to, I think what my point is today is that trust your animal instinct, but when you don't listen to the other instincts that pop up, if you don't pay attention to the red flags that are coming your direction, things can turn for the worse. It's okay to trust your or your instinct, that first gut reaction. But be mindful and aware. And that's what we're going to talk about today is, how do I do that? If I get this gut reaction, and am I seeing the truth or is it false? We're going to talk about how we can move beyond that. But what I found fascinating when I was watching that Animal Planet channel was that, what does animal instinct mean? I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you because I'm going to read it to you. It says, involuntary response by an animal is resulting in a predictable and a relatively fixed behavior pattern. Instinct behavior is an inherited mechanism that serves to promote the survival of an animal or a species. It is most apparent when fighting and sexual activity. You can relate to that, right? It's most apparent when your animal instincts are high in those two activities. But the simple form of this is reflex. Are you responding and reacting? What is that? And that all animals have instincts, but in general, the higher the animal form, we're the higher animal form, right? Man, we're considered a mammal in that mammal form, so we're the higher animal form. The more flexible the behavior becomes. Among mammals, learned behavior often prevails over instinctive behavior. So do you think that curator was a learned behavior instead of his instinctive behavior? I think he fell into that, don't you? That he got into that, no, this has got to be right. It's science, it's proven. It's right here, it's on paper, it's on black and white. It's got to be true, I'm looking right at it. It's got to be true. So I think that's fascinating that we will automatically defer to a learned behavior than we will to trust our instincts. So can you think of a time in your life, right now in your life today, where you are ignoring your instincts? Where you're ignoring your gut. Not because it has gas, right? But you are ignoring your gut feeling because you really don't want that to be true. I really don't want my family member to have a problem with drinking. I really don't want to face another disappointment in my life. So what do we do about that? Well, as an example, in the Getty statue, it was obviously fake, but why did they go ahead and buy it? There's a key. Why did they just go ahead and buy it? Why didn't they even listen? They didn't listen to the experts who did the study, he says in the book is, why didn't the experts who did the study over 14 months figure this out? Why could the 4 people that instinctively knew something was wrong figure it out? Why did it take all of this time? I think it takes that time because we take time to figure things out sometimes. That sometimes we just don't get it right the first time. That we don't have belief or we don't trust in ourselves. We don't trust in ourselves. We can trust others, but we have to first trust ourselves. So we don't trust, we don't have belief, and we don't pay attention. We don't pay attention to the red flags in front of us. There is a racing going out there, there's flags, they got slow down, caution, right? When there's a racetrack and there's 1 round or 3 laps left and they have the yellow flags and then there's a checker flag, yay, you won, and all these things. We're not paying attention to any of those flags. Because we are set and we believe what we see is true. So in the Getty's example, they were fixed on believing what could be proven rather than listening to the gut. They wanted so badly to believe that statue was really real that they were willing to love the idea no matter what the facts were saying to them. No matter what other facts, should I say, were saying to them. Can you see that in your life today? Is there something in your life that you're ignoring? The facts are right here, but the facts are here, but you're ignoring the gut, saying there's more to the story than what's in front of me. In Matthew 17, 20, 21, he says, he said to them, because of your little faith, for truly I tell you, if you have faith like the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. And nothing will be impossible for you. Do you know that the mustard seed is full of intelligence, and that mustard seed knows that when it's planted in the ground and it's nourished and it's watered, that it becomes this brilliant tree that covers you in shade. And it serves in greater ways. And if we look at that metaphorically, we're saying that when you get that intuition and you get quiet and you discern and you decide, is this the right thing for me? That when you nurture it, it blossoms into being magnificent. I love that passage. These seeds, they have the intelligence and the information that will grow and become magnificent. This means that with all faith, things are possible. Right? So this means that with all faith, things are possible. So how do we do this? Trust in the spiritual law of faith. To have faith is in something something greater and more magnificent than you. Perhaps in that mustard seed. Perhaps in that person that's coming to you and saying, I don't know how to put my finger on it, but something's not right. When you get a gut feeling or a knowing, trust in all the power that comes up. Stop. Just for a second. And stop second guessing yourself. How many times have you done that? You started second guessing what came to you naturally and instinctively. Me? Am I the only one? Yes? I didn't want to be alone up here. Stop second guessing yourself and consider just for a moment that your intuition is actually spot on. The second thing that we can do is pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention to those big red flags. Or as I was growing up, we used to ignore that big pink elephant in the living room. If I just ignore it, it'll go away. In my house growing up, it was in the house, it was a lot different than we were outside of the house. Anybody else grow up like that? Your house inside, and that could be good or bad. It was just difference, right? In my case, it wasn't so fun, right? Behind those closed doors, things were not what they seemed to be. But pay attention to those red flags around you. Don't ignore them, and take time and try to understand what they mean for you today. So I want everybody I'm gonna go a little bit further on this, but for just a second, think of your red flag. Doesn't everybody have one red flag that they can think of today? Something that's saying caution. I want you to pay attention to what's going on in front of you. Okay, I want you to think of that. I want you to think of that red flag and how it is affecting you. I want you to feel that in your body. And I want you right now to use your gift of discernment. Your gift of discernment to find out what it is. To just get quiet and to hear it. Get quiet. Go to that place where you find the most comfort. And that's not in a pint of Haagen-Dazs. But this place here where we can go within ourselves. I don't know, Haagen-Dazs is good for me. I made homemade ice cream yesterday, so go into that place and just feel that, right? So, and discern and decide if your gut is working on your behalf, or is it giving you an illusion of what you want it to be. Just like that young curator who really wanted that statue to be real. What is that in your life today that you're really wanting this to be true? But if you got quiet and you use that gift of discernment, that you would be able to know that there might be a different option, a different route to go. And you might also find that you're good, that you know that this is good. And once you have found that, believe. I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to believe in your gut intuition. Believe that the divine intelligence, which is within all of us, believe that the divine intelligence is within each of you. And just as the mustard seed, the tiniest of atoms that can manifest itself into reality or into our dreams, our hopes, and our wishes. Have faith in that. Have faith in yourself. Because when you have that belief in the divine intelligence and you nurture that instinct and that gut feeling that you have, that you grow to make better choices in your life. You not only grow to make better choices in your life, you can then see that in somebody else that you might absolutely love and adore. You know, I have to read this last part of what the curator, how they display that statue now in that museum. Let's see if I can find it real quick here. Nope. It just says, or a fake. It says, it tells her what it could be, or a fake, is what it says, actually, in there. And I just couldn't, I wanted to read the exact words of it, but I couldn't find it here really quick. So they still have that, well, at least they did when you wrote this book, they still have that statue hanging there because they spent all that money on it. And they're looking at it and they're saying, here it is. Is it Memorex or is it live? Right? So that's what I'm talking about, your gut instincts, your animal instincts. Our animal instincts will tell us that to fight or flight. Our animal instincts can save us because as we develop that animal instinct, when we go from here, and generally Kate talks about our animal instincts, and it's when we have not, our soul has not spiritually unfolded, has not done its unfolding, has not done its work yet. That's when we're still in our animal thinking. Right? I absolutely love that, is that this is our time for our soul to unfold and to become more. One last thing that I'd like to talk to you about is that, no, that's it. I thought I had something else to say, but H. Emily Katie said it for us, right? Let your soul unfold. Trust your animal instinct. Don't go into fight or flight. And if you have to, then look back at it and say, why was I in this place? Believe. Believe in yourself. Believe in that mustard seed. Pay attention. Pay attention to those words or the people that are surrounding you. Are the words coming from somebody else encouraging you to be the best that you can be, or are they keeping you down, keeping you small? And then do the work. Don't just do the work. Allow it to happen. God bless. Thank you very much.